I'm Bishop Darrel Watkins, and let's queer up faith. Why more Americans are leaving Christianity over anti-LGBTQ views. Americans are increasingly leaving Christianity, citing anti-LGBTQ plus animus and political entanglement as key reasons, according to new research and personal accounts. Garth Huelskamp, now 35, left the Mormon Church after years of internal conflict over his sexuality. While serving a Mormon mission at 19, he recalls companions telling a lesbian couple that Jesus could save them from all sins, including homosexuality. At the time, Huelskamp knew he was gay. Talking to Gay Times and Uncloseted media, he said, quote, "I was hoping that I'd come up from my mission and be attracted to women and be able to live like this very quintessential Mormon dream," end quote. That never happened. And after years of therapy and strained family relationships, he officially left the church in 2017. Huelskamp's experience reflects a broader shift. A 2024 Public Religion Research Institute study found that 47% of Americans who deconstructed their faith did so because of how LGBTQ people are treated. This percentage is up from 29% in 2016. Nearly 60% of adults under 30 cited the same reason. At the same time, some conservative denominations continue anti-LGBTQ positions, while affirming churches have seen growth. Psychologist Darrel Ray says institutions face a choice: adapt or lose relevance. Quote, "The culture makes a change, and then the church has to adjust, or it goes extinct," end quote. I certainly know that LGBTQ issues is what caused me to deconstruct and reconstruct my faith. Because once I plowed through all that to figure out, okay, I am who I am, I'm good, it's, God can either get on board with this or God can kiss my ass, whatever. Once I got through all that, the next question was, what are the chances that's the only thing they got wrong? And so it led to more and more deconstruction, more. So now, yeah, this flaming liberal, well, flaming anything, but also this liberal, progressive, but it all started with having to reconcile the gay bit. And then I just, went crazy with it. But so this makes sense to me. And I'm glad that people are challenging it and making different choices, because no one should be anywhere where they're insulted or abused or demoralized or dehumanized. So keep making that statement, and churches will have to change.
And I think that
they'll have to.
The Sunshine Cathedral is so much more important. I mean, I don't practice any religion, but for those that do, having that affirming space, those who are raised being religious, ostracized from, the church that perhaps they grew up in, so many people have left.
Yeah.
This article really demonstrates that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can see why.
And if it's part of your family experience or part of your identity, it hurts to leave. Like, it's a big deal that they leave. It's a big deal.
This whole generation, for a good 30 years, there's been a study every year that people are leaving organized religion, religion. And this reminds me of a story of my longest term partner's parents. She was the youngest of 7 children. And so obviously everybody else was all grown up and out of the house before she realized she was a lesbian and came out. And they were devout Catholics, Catholic school, Catholic high school, everything. And then when she came out and they tried to reconcile that with their faith, her parents left the church.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and what was amazing to me was the other reasons there on that chart that he was showing regarding leaving, the scandals about child sex abuse in the Catholic Church. And bad for my mental health was one of the reasons. But still,
totally.
The reasons that they brought up about social issues were at the top of the game.
Right.
Well, I mean, I can, obviously I grew up in a Catholic household. I went to Catholic school for younger, elementary school, and certainly have not been involved in organized religion in some time. I probably have spent the most time in a church in the last 10 years at St. John's on the Lake, which is another affirming church, led by an LGBTQ Pastor Kip, and not because I'm going there for church, but they host community events that I think bring people there outside of the confines of what religion is. Because religion at its core is about community, bringing people together and having something to believe in. St. John's on the Lake hosts a big gay brunch once a month, which is, again, not a church event, but is a social event led by the church. And it's just it's a good feel-good day. It's not about religion. It's just about everyone talking about, community, feelings, and affirming who you are and your identity. So I think those are the churches that are going to have growth, like Sunshine Cathedral.
If I uplift you and celebrate you, you'll find what's divine within yourself. Yeah. So these events are amazing. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you. And that's what I see as the benefit of any organized religion or spiritual center these days is that community and that sharing that makes you feel your spirituality.
Yeah, Joe, I know you're involved in St. Anne's and the Vatican Museum.
All kinds of things, actually. I'm very involved with my home church, Cathedral of Hope in Dallas, which is a non-denominational, all-inclusive church. And I grew up a Methodist in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the buckle of the Bible Belt. And my mother, who was really not highly educated and had those little blockers on and was a Methodist her whole life, came and visited my church. And she said something very profound. She said, your church is all-inclusive. You have every walk of life there. She said, a church should be a hospital for sinners and not a rest home for saints. And I think that's what a church should be. Jesus was a shepherd, and he shepherded all people of all walks of life. And that's what it should be. And I am involved with the Vatican Museum, not the Vatican itself, but the museum. And I've sat on the board since 1994. I'm a Medici by blood from Florence. So we had 4 popes in my ancestral family. I'm not a Catholic. There are many things about the Catholic Church I don't believe in. We won't go into all of those. I do love the Pope we have now. I adored Pope Francis. And if Pope Francis hadn't come along and made some statements he made about inclusiveness, I think they would have lost even more followers than they have.
Right. Yeah.
And I love coming to your church. I love it. It's the closest thing to my church that there is.
I worked at your church for about 6 years back in the 90s.
I remember. I remember.
This is a big topic, and I'm sure that there'll be a lot more conversation about it, especially under this administration and using
I'm very happy I got here on time today. I live on the island of Palm Beach during the season, and Donald Trump is out of town, so I was able to come.
Thank God.
Not have the bridge up and
avoid the bridge.
Blockade. So I was
that
punctual.
Must be so annoying, and to know that that's why.
Annoying AF. Annoying AF. I mean, it is horrible. I think about the people that pay huge property tax that live blocks from him and how greatly inconvenienced they're.
Totally.
If he's afraid of being shot, stay in Washington, D.C. and leave us alone.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
that would be nice.
Well,
That would be nice.
yeah. Well,
Stay somewhere, not there. Okay.
There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.